I'm Mauri Goins,
And I'm Dina Blair.
and this is the Pickup Line. And today we're going to talk about single parenting.
Debunking lots of myths about being a single mom.
Lots and lots of myths.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
The good and the bad and the ugly.
All the things.
All the things. I've been a single mom forever, since I was 22 years old.
Mhm.
I've never been married. I've had financial help, but as far as a single mom, I am still the definition of a single mom.
Yeah, you definitely are. And I didn't plan on being a single mom.
No, you
but
didn't. You weren't when I met you.
No, I
No,
wasn't.
you weren't when I met you.
But it just kind of worked out that way. And honestly think it was for the best.
Well, God doesn't make mistakes.
No,
If
not
I
at
was
all.
going to talk to my kids about that, that's what I would say.
And definitely turns things around when you think that it's going to be one way. It turns around and makes it better. So I've been a single mom, let's see, probably about 14 years. But honestly, even being married, I feel stuck.
Oh my God, Dina.
Yeah.
Has it been 14 years?
Wait. Oh, wait. No, it hasn't. No,
Okay,
it hasn't.
like, what?
It hasn't.
Girl.
Wait, it hasn't. But that's how long I was married. So I feel like that I was a single mom the whole time.
I was like, stop it. Stop it.
No, wait. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, I've been a single mom, like officially on the record.
Well, there's a whole lot of mothers that are married that are still single.
But that was kind of my point, right?
Yes.
That's how I felt.
Correct.
I felt like I was a single mom. So I still said 14 years, but
correct.
But it can't be 14 years because, no.
So he used to sit at the copper top table with us.
Yes.
And talk. And we'd have our little cocktails and the kids would be playing and he would be a part of our...
He would be a part of our...
Yeah, he was our friend group. Like he was in our friend group.
Kind of.
Yeah, and then he just slowly rolled out.
Yeah, it's... people can only wear a mask for so long. But being a single mom, I will say the things that... I think the things that marriage teaches you is... Or being actually co-parenting teaches you how to be open to other people's perspective on raising kids. And being a single mom, like you don't have to really weigh in. You don't have to weigh in what someone else thinks about what you're doing when it comes to raising your children. So as a single mom, we have the opportunity to choose who influences how we raise our kids.
Right.
And so that's one of the reasons we're such great friends is like we made that choice. I think you learn one way or the other, either being co-parenting, you learn so much. You also learn so much as a single mom. And I think there are pluses and minuses for both. I definitely think that, I'm happy with, it's hard. It's like one of the most, being a parent in general is hard.
Oh my God.
But being a single mom is super, super challenging. But when you know you're raising a child or kids with someone who doesn't have the same foundation as you, maybe thought that they did. Yeah.
It's the moral fiber.
It almost is easier to just do it yourself, which,
we talked about that a little bit, brushed on that in the last episode, where when I was introducing myself, I was like, the one good thing about my situation is I didn't have to check with somebody before I did something.
Right.
I didn't have to be like, hey, what's happening on Saturday? Can we? I just did what I had to do. Right. And I think as a single mother, it takes a village, right? It takes a village to raise kids. I've got good neighbors, I've got good people. And if it's something going on in my life, I can remember I will call my neighbor all the time and go, hey, can you run over there and blow out my candle? And she would get to my house and be like, the candle's out. Like, what? Did you leave a candle?
Yes.
And I had so many things on my mind as a single mom that the candle was just a small factor. I just pulled out of the driveway so fast thinking, hey, is my house going to burn down? Because I think I got a candle going.
Yeah.
So when you're a single mother, you're going in 50 different directions.
Yeah.
And as you get older as a single mom and you start to change, your body starts to change. That's a whole new show, right? Then you're like, okay, let me get a checklist for the shit I forgot. Like, did I remember this? Did I remember that?
Yeah.
I have this at school. I have a play. I have soccer. I have volleyball. I have all these other things.
Yeah. And
it's almost like being a single mom for me has kept me young, has kept me on point.
Yeah.
But it's also, now I realize, by 8 or 9 o'clock, I'm like, boy,
girl,
I'm done.
It's time for bed.
Can we go to dinner at 6:30? It changes.
Or can we order it in and just...
Right? Or what happened to my stilettos? Like, right? So it's like I've changed all my stilettos for sneakers.
Yes.
So now where I used to have an amazing array of heels, I got an amazing array of sneakers. And I'm like, I just, I remember one of my friends saying, you need to stop dressing like a tomboy. Well, first of all, I am a tomboy. And second of all, that's my mom gear. It's kept me comfortable
and cute.
Yeah. 10 years worth of volleyball games and my son's AAU. Yeah. So single parenting is hard, but when you surround yourself, like you said, with people that share the same beliefs you do, that walk by the same faith that you walk.
Yeah.
That, you know, when you've had a bad day, as we would do on the pickup line, call each other in the morning. You know, when once the kids are out of the car, we're like, girl,
yes,
what happened last night? Like, what?
I wanted to put her out the car on the way to school today.
Out. It's like they leave and you're like, bye, honey. Damn.
Like, it's so true.
What just happened?
It's so true.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Or I, you know, one of mine would just never talk to me all the way to school. And I'd be like, let's turn on 104.7 and listen to the Christian radio station because I need it. Girl.
Well, also, I think it helps as just parents in general, but for sure being a single mom, having that support where, you know, like what you're going through. And that's the pickup line for us is like, you know, what you're going through isn't abnormal. Like sometimes you feel like, are my kids the only one that whatever, fill in the blank, you know, but when you're surrounded by other moms.
And I think the really good thing, you know, social media has a double-edged sword. It can do really, really good and it can do really, really bad. And I think that when you're able to talk to real mothers, right? We're not celebrity moms. Our names aren't on billboards. We're just normal mothers going through normal shit every day. And when you get a chance to talk to somebody that says, hey, you know what? I think I can feel your pain.
Yes.
Like I can tell people, because now that I'm an empty nester, I can tell people that are single mothers or newly married people, you know, get over that hump. Just get over the hump and you're going to be fine. Like right now, it seems like your whole world is going crazy. It's like a meme. The laundry's not done. I got to cook. I got to fix this. I got to get this. Get over that hump. And at night, when you put your kids to bed, we talked about that last time. Like, let's get them to bed early.
Yeah.
So you can get a little downtime
time for
and
yourself.
take some time for yourself.
Like, I share that with my clients often. It's like, you got to make sure you have time for yourself. And it's important because everybody's heard the saying. It's like, you have to fill your own cup before you can actually, they say it on the plane. When you're on a plane, they're like, make sure you put your mask on before you put your kid's mask on. So make sure that you're getting what you need. And I think having a village around you that's supportive definitely helps with that. And then for me, you know, it was all the things. It was like managing their schedule. And my girls, I just remember them because they're like 2.5 years apart. And I remember one being 2 and the other one in the carrier and like trying to get them into the house at the same time and just like trying to arrange, because I worked full time, you know this, when I had them. So it's like, well, I'm at the club and I'm going to plan dinner. I'm going to get dinner for them like at 7 because time has already gone by. So it's like I've missed that little window of getting home and making dinner. So I'm going to get them dinner so it can be in the car by 7. They'll fall asleep on the way home. And so when I get home, I can carry them one at a time, you know, up inside the house. At the time, my garage door wasn't working. So that's a whole other story. So you don't think about what you do as a mom, and not even just a single mom, like I think as a mom in general, but I do think that single moms carry a bit more of a burden than
100%.
moms that have, you know, have a husband or real support in the house. Cause like co-parenting really hasn't been a thing.
Right.
Since.
And I think
forever.
that when I had my first child, my son, I remember I moved really far out. So I'm kind of in the burbs, and I was working full time. I had graduated from college. I was young when I had him, and Waffle House knew my order. He got 2 bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches every single morning. Every single morning. They knew my order. So before I went into work, I'd have his little drink. I don't even really think I was drinking coffee that much at the time. God knows what I was drinking. Probably like some soda. I have no idea. Right. And I'd get him in my Honda Prelude and I'm like, strap up, come on, let's go. And then I'd be like, hold on. And then I'd get out of the car. And because I was always afraid to leave him in the car.
Yeah.
I would not leave him in the car because I'm like, I'm just that scary mother, right? So I'm like, I'm going to get him out of the car.
Yeah.
He would go in the Waffle House with me and we would get up to the thing and they were like, oh, hey, Miss Goins, we got your, hey, D, how are you? And we'd have his bacon, egg, and cheese. But he didn't eat 1 sandwich, he ate 2. So.
How old was he eating 2 sandwiches?
Oh my God. He was walking on his heels at 3. He was eating 2 bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches. And
that's funny. He walked on his heels?
He walked on his
because
heels.
My oldest walked on her tippy toes.
He walked on his toes. Yes. Like he walked on his toes.
On his toes. Okay.
Yeah. So he was on his toes, not his heels. I'm sorry. And his calves still show it to this day. Right. But
that's so you can make those shots.
I was like, exactly. Right. I was like, look, baby, I got to feed you. And I didn't cook for a long time. Not because I didn't want to cook. Well, really, I probably wasn't interested, but I had to take time to make sure my kids were straight. Like, right. So when I had D, it was like, let's go, D. A biggie fry. He had a biggie fry, or he had his like bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches from Waffle House. So shout out to Waffle House, because I mean, what else was I going to do? Right. So when you're a single mom, you do what you got to do. Right. I tell my kids this all the time. Hungry people find a way to eat. And thirsty people find a way to drink. And I was determined, through my faith or through whatever it was, that I was going to do what I needed to do to be a good mom. I don't know if I am a good mom. I don't know if I'm the best mom, you know, because we're all a work in progress. Like, we make mistakes. But I think that I wish I had a me for me. If I had a me for me.
I'm happy I have a you for me. It's great. It works out quite well for me.
That is crazy. If I had a me for me, I would be like, you know, things are like sometimes at home, when you get home at night, nobody sees your crying. Nobody sees your tears. Nobody feels your pain. And then when you're in the situation I'm in, where there is some financial help, you know, I get a lot of, what is she crying about?
Right.
What's that got to do with washing clothes and raising kids?
It's true.
What's that got to do with how I feel? Right. There's a lot of pluses and minuses on that. Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't ever want to sound ungrateful, because I am. But it would have been a little nice to have somebody say, how are you doing? And I think single moms need somebody to just come in and be like, hey, you good? You all right? How was your day? Like, so I think that's why the pickup line is so important, because with you, I had that, oh, my night was for shit, or dang, I accidentally was a little too mean to my babies. Like, right. I might not have been the nicest mom. Right. I kind of went over the edge because I was feeling this way. So the pickup line for me was more like therapy. It helped me get out some of the things. And then you're so calm and pleasant. And you're like, well, did you ask her why? Did you get behind the source of it? Did you say, how are you feeling? I'm like, no, I didn't ask.
There's always a reason where people are acting out. I also think that, you know, they raise us in a way too, you know, because as a mom, we maybe think that, you know, we should have all the answers, and our children definitely think we have all the answers until they're teenagers and they have all the answers.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say I've grown so much as a person by being a mother.
They're mirrors.
Oh, yeah. They show you who you
mirrors.
are. They show you who you are for sure.
They're mirrors.
But I've grown so much as a person, and definitely in my faith in being a mom, because there are, you know, I didn't have any financial support, you know, very, very minimal financial support.
I'm going to say this, and I don't want you to be annoyed if I say this. You were the financial support. You were the breadwinner in your household. So, yeah, you loved him.
Well, yeah, and I was supporting his dreams too, you know?
Yes,
so
100%.
But for sure, I would say I've grown they've helped me grow up in lots of ways. And actually, like, again, growing in my faith, it's like, you got to be able to lean on God and know, like, it's going to be okay. Like the recent conversations you and I have had has been like, don't worry about that. God's got us. God has something better than we even have in mind.
And I think that's a lot also. I remember my grandmother, when I would go home and I would drive my son from Atlanta to Indiana. And it was almost crazy, because if they wouldn't let me off work and it was Christmas, I'm like, come on now. I don't want to quit. Right. I don't want to quit. But my son is going to see his grandma for Christmas. Like, right. I enjoy my job, but I'm taking my son home for Christmas. Right. This is before I had my girls. And that was important to me for him to be in Indiana and see the snow. And God only knows, I didn't want to drive 8 hours in a blizzard. Like, but I'm like, get your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
I would load the trunk of that car up with all these wrap gifts. You know, he didn't see it because, you know, Santa was real in my house. Right. So I would load him up, drive him home, and like nothing else. Once he got out of the car and was, you know, sleep or whatever, I would unload those packages. Right. And people don't think of little things like being a single mother. You know how long it takes to wrap a gift?
Yes, I hate wrapping gifts. I'm horrible
you know
at
how long
it
it takes you to wrap all them Christmas gifts? You wake up at 2 a.m.
Yes,
tired.
I was just gonna say 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes,
and it's like you. So we have friends, and you know, mutual friends that would have a Christmas party every year right before Christmas, and one particular was Christmas Eve, and we stayed there late, no presents wrapped. Yeah, it's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. You're wrapping gifts because you want to make sure you're.
And when I had my girls, okay, this is just gonna take you down. So I'm a single mom, right? So if we're bringing new life into the house, you consult the single mom, correct? Like you get a little input. So I can remember times the girls were little. I don't think I had Gracie yet. It was Mariah and Dee, and they were little and they were running around. And their dad comes in the house and he's got all these gifts and they're wrapped perfectly. And I'm like, yay. But then I've got so many toys in the basement that I still have to wrap, right?
Yeah.
So he had a combination. I had a combination, which was a blessing. And then all of a sudden I got this bag and I'm like, is this dog food?
Oh.
And he was like, oh yeah, wait a minute.
This is so exciting.
Hey, I got something for the kids. I was like, is that life?
One more
Is
thing
it
to take care
life?
of.
Is that another mouth to feed? And you gonna get back on the plane?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I just sat there and smiled. I was like, thank you. Where the wine at? Where is the wine at? Because I was like, not only, and it was a great gesture. It was a great gift for the kids.
Yeah.
Do not get me wrong, right? Never misunderstand my gratitude. It was a perfect gift for my kids.
Yeah.
And my kids loved it. They were over the moon. But somebody had to train it. Somebody had to feed it. Somebody had to water it. It's like having a plant that you just are not gonna. I was like, whew, okay, baby just dropped off some more life, right? And when you're single, it was just one more thing I had to do.
I'll tell you, I'll say this till day I die. You always, 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 always put your children first, period, and a story.
You too.
No, always. So, I mean, I feel like I do the things I do. I've had to make different choices, right? So when it comes to like working, like figuring out a way to get to my office and take care of the girls. And so my putting them first has also been in a provider role.
Absolutely.
Right. And so being able to balance like the provider role, but also, okay, I'm here if you are having an issue at school or you need help with a subject, or I need to drive you to like when Kendall was in dance class or now Kay with soccer. It's just like, so that's one thing that I've had to look at it a different way of like always being there for my girls, which I can say I learned some of that from you too, is like, that is always, and Tammy, like that's always a priority is like, how is this going to affect the kids?
Yes.
Right. So having a dog is additional responsibility for you. And which to this day, we don't have any pets for that reason.
I know. And I'm always like, Dina, you need a dog. You're like, yo, you need to stop talking.
Yeah, I'm like,
you
need to let the dog stay with you.
And I get it.
And and I would love to give them a pet, but I don't have the bandwidth for a pet. So as a mom, you have a single mom too, you got to be able to know, like for me, I had to draw the line. I would love to give them a pet, but I look at all the other things happening in my house and I'm just like,
and you have your mom too.
Yeah. I have too many other things, too many other boxes that need to be checked before I can have a pet. So I think about it every birthday though. I'm like they want a cat or they want a bird or a cat or an owl or like random.
Their grandmother had a bird named Pretty Girl, and Pretty Girl would fly around. And I remember one time when Mariah was little, their dad was like, Ma, you need to get the bird. You need to get the bird. And then the bird was like flying around and it just went, whoosh. I looked at her. No, it just flew on the table and landed. And
I was like, it died.
I turned around and I looked at the bird. Then I looked at their grandma and I was like, I'm gonna save the bird because he's about to get the bird. Like, don't let the bird land on her because when Mariah was little, she was the princess. It was like, don't touch her.
Yeah.
Don't if that bird, if Pretty Girl lands on her, we're gonna have a problem. And I was like, at the time, I was like thinking about Mariah. I knew I would save Mariah,
right?
But I was like, somebody better save the bird, right? Somebody better save the bird, because she was her pet. She was her pet at the time, and I was like, okay. We all have our different, whatever it is, woos or woes or ideas of pets. But I think that for you, one of the things that I admired about you so much as a single mother is you kept your career. Like I didn't
really have a choice.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I know. But I look at that. I admire that. I admire that in my sister. I admire that in women. And I think, a lot of times I'm like, I can remember I would be, I would get mad and I'd be like, you ready to trade in your suit for my stilettos? We can. I knew that wasn't going to happen, right? I knew realistically that wasn't going to happen, right? I knew realistically that wasn't my role, right? And sometimes as single mothers, we fall into roles that we don't necessarily want to take.
Right.
Right? I didn't go to college and get degrees for this to be my role, right? It was always like I kind of wanted a little more for myself.
Yeah.
But I knew that if I did the little more for myself, they would suffer.
Right.
right? Because
Yeah.
their dad wasn't able to be here.
Right.
But he was able to provide a lifestyle for us. Their dad wasn't able to be at everything. So I felt like I had to be at everything, right? Just like you feel like you have to be at everything, and you're even working and doing it all, right? And some days I'm like, Dina, you gotta take a day to breathe.
I mean, I'll tell you this, like when we decided, like we're filming instead of yesterday, today, and I was like, okay, well, I blocked off I told my clients like, no, whatever. And then I started literally after we text, I started to text some clients back and say, hey, my calendar changed. And I was like, wait, no, don't do that. Like literally just let Saturday be a day that you don't have to be anywhere working with anyone. Like do what you want to do.
When I'm talking to people or they ask me and they're like, how do you do what you do? Or you're like such a good mom, or you just do this. I always think about, I don't know if you ever watched, I can't remember. It was The Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts. And she was the bride that liked any kind of eggs her man ate. Right? So if she was with this man, she was like, oh, I like fried eggs. If she was with this man, she's like, oh, I like poached eggs. Oh. If she was with this man, she liked whatever egg.
Right.
And I remember one day,
that's like Coming to America. Whatever you like.
Whatever you like. Right? Oh, that's a whole nother story, right? So I remember one day, it's like one of the first times we all took a vacation together as a family. And their dad and I co-parent. We're not in a relationship at all. But we would do things for our kids. Yeah. Right? And I remember we were in New York City and they all asked me, well, what do you want to eat? That sounds like the dumbest question in the world, right? Like, it's like, what do you want to eat?
Right.
Anybody else would be like, I'll have a steak, I'll have a lobster, I'll have some salmon. You might like, I'll have a matcha tea. Right.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first times a light bulb went off in me. And I felt like the runaway bride because I eat what they eat. Right. I eat whatever they want. Yep. So if my kids are like, I want this, then I eat that. Yep. So I had to think about that day. And that day kind of changed me because I thought, well, hell, I don't know what I want. I couldn't tell you what I want. I couldn't sit down and say to you exactly what I want. Because when you're a mother and a single mother, it's really not about what you want until they go to bed.
Well, I also think that's kind of survival mode in a sense. I mean, I could be off base with that, but it feels like survival mode. Like you do what you got to do to get through the day. Yeah. And there are different, levels of survival mode for sure, but it's just like, you just do what you got to do to get through the day. And even at the end of the day, when they're in bed, when you really should be going to bed, you're trying to find that little bit of time for yourself.
You'll see memes and they'll have that big wine glass and the lady's like, ugh. Yeah. And I went through that at one point, where it was like, if I got out, it was like, I'm out. Right. Oh my God, I'm going to have all the wine and laugh my tail off. Right. And it's just stupid. Like, it's like, girl, sit down because you got to get up in the morning with them. Right. You think about, you're like, I'm out, I'm having fun, I'm going to kick it. You got to get up in the morning. Whether you gave in a little too much that night or you was like, you get up a little on hard times.
Morning comes quick.
Morning comes quick when you're a single mom. And it's just kind of like, I can remember taking Mariah and Gracie to volleyball tournaments. When Dee was younger, I had to get somebody to help me with Mariah because Dee was doing travel basketball. So I had to have somebody help me with Mariah because Mariah was so little. And I can remember fainting one day in run and shoot because it was just so nasty and so hot. And I was pregnant with Gracie. And I was just like, Lord.
You fainted at run and shoot.
I fainted at run and shoot on that nasty ground.
Of all places.
And Dee was yelling and screaming. He jumped off the court. He was like, my mama done fainted. I done laid out big as hell and just fell out. Oh, but I didn't realize I was doing so many things. My body was worn out. Right. And I hope that the pickup line shows women or tells women and younger women and older, you're still a person.
Yeah. Take time for yourself.
You got to take time for yourself. Yeah. You got to try to get your hair done. You got to try to feel a little pretty. Yeah. You got to try to, even if it's to go get a new lip gloss or do something
that lends itself to you taking care of yourself and not the opposite. Like, I think to your point of like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to have all the wine, I'm going to stay up late. And it's like, that doesn't really lend itself to the goal is still raising your kids. The goal is still raising kids that are going to be productive in society, like, be able to contribute in a meaningful way. So that's still the goal. And the way for them to do that is like, you take care of yourself. So what can you do that lends itself to you making sure that you feel your best?
When you're young and you have kids young, you don't think of that.
Right.
when you're young and you're having kids, you're all like, okay, shoot, I still want to, get it in, or I still want to have fun, and you can't just stick a device in their face.
No, you have children.
You can't just say, hey, I'm going to leave you with whoever. You got to be responsible, and you got to say to yourself, you know what? Hey, it's just not about me.
Right. And I mean, I understand I didn't have my children young. I was in my 30s when I had my girls.
Oh my gosh.
But I feel like,
yeah, I was in 30s I was in 30s
with G.
With G.
Yeah. But I feel like, and this is probably not going to be very popular, but once you have children, like, that's it. Like, that's your priority.
For some women. Well, and that's what we would hope.
Well, that's where I'm like, the women that have kids and they're still like running around and trying to stay out all night and sleep with this dude and hang out with this guy, and you may come across as judgmental. That's just not what I think a mother should be. Mm-hmm. I just think that a mother should have, how do you show up your very best as you can for your children, and that's the life you're choosing.
And on that, even though we're going to get some bad comments for that, and we don't care, like, right? Because,
well, I don't care
what anybody thinks about you, right? and that's the part I love you. And on that, we have to, I tell my kids all the time, the pendulum always swings.
Oh my God, you've told me that.
Yes, that pendulum always swings. We're going to put that on a t-shirt, right? Because at some point, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
At some point, whatever you've done is going to come back to you. So you have to be able to do all things in moderation, right? Yeah. I would love, and when I tell you, when I look at young women that are making their paper, got their own money, doing their own independence, like you, like my sister, it's like I can get up and do this, and this, and this. A part of me is envious of that, because I was always, even though to the world it will seem like, oh, she got this, and this, there was always, and I wasn't married, there was always a limitation.
Yeah.
Right? There was like a limitation.
Yeah.
And I could go anywhere I wanted to go with my kids. But if I start talking about, hey, I'm about to go here with Dina, it didn't flow like that. Right? It didn't flow like that.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that limited me. I had to do what I had to do so they could get done what they needed to get done. And the sacrifice in that was me.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that mothers that work, do it all, build it all. I mean, I look at my sister, she's been at her job for 35 years, right? Her son just graduated from Tennessee State with an engineering degree, and she's never been married, and she's still working like crazy. And I look at her and I'm like, girl, you need a medal. like you need an Academy Award. Yeah. You need it all, because it's amazing. It is amazing to see you guys do what you do. Mm-hmm. And society needs to be more grateful to y'all, more gracious to y'all, because it's difficult raising good human beings, balancing your life, your career, their lives, their sports, your parents, a household, buying your own house, doing your own things. I don't think that we look at single mothers and award them as much as they should have. Because you can look at sports figures, or you can look at actors, and they'll all talk and they'll say, well, yeah, I was raised from a single mom. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. I don't think moms really give themselves the credit for all the stuff they do either, because we just get in it and we just do it. So if you really sat down and made a list, obviously, God's grace and all the things we're able to do. But it's like, if you sat down and made a list of the accomplishments you've done as a mom, as a single mom, and you look at your children and what your children have been able to do because of the energy and attention that you've given to your kids, I think you'd be amazed at what you juggle in a day. Correct. If you really thought about what you juggle, what you juggle in a day, from the things that you're planning to making sure something is that, dealing with a car, or dealing with, scheduling, Correct. Getting doctor's appointments, or somebody gets hurt and somebody's not feeling, somebody in my house gets sick. I'm just like, oh, come on now.
You almost mad they sick, right? And they can't help it. They got sick. Right? But
it's like, you really make a list of all the things that you do on a daily basis. You would amaze yourself. It's like if you were getting an award. I remember I was up for this award to be best fitness person, whatever, in Atlanta, whatever. And you had to put in like all the accomplishments and awards. You don't think about it because you just do it because you love it.
Mm-hmm.
You love your children. You love your family. You just get up and you do what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really, so if you really sat down and thought about all the things, we all would get awards.
My neighbor,
you know,
who I adore, she's like the head of the PTA for both of her sons' high school career. And I was like, you ain't doing that. Like, no. I mean, I'm volleyball, and I might be the food mother. I ain't doing that. Like, I'm not the PTA girl.
Yeah.
But
even if I was a stay-at-home mom, I wouldn't be the head of
told
PTA.
She told me a couple weeks ago.
For sure.
She told me a couple weeks ago. She's like, they just gave me this award because of how I've changed so many things in the school. For so many kids, even kids that aren't hers, she would go talk to the coach about them.
Yeah.
And she would be, taking up for the kids and doing all this and doing all that. She's like, I was just like getting the award and everybody else was praising me. And my son was like, okay, you ready? She said, because he had no idea what I put into doing this.
Right.
Right. Because I'm his mom.
Yeah.
So he just figures that I'm supposed to do this, right? Because I'm his mom.
Yeah.
And we went and she was with some of the other PTA moms, and they were talking and celebrating. And she looked at me and I turned up my glass and I said, RIP PTA. It's over. Yeah. Right? It's over. Yeah. And now you get to see the fruit of your labor.
That's right.
Right? You're done. Yeah. God help those other kids in the PTA because you're gone. But now you get to see the fruit of your labor. Mm-hmm. I was in New York with my kids. Went with my daughter. She had an engagement to do, and then I was finished that, and she had to come back to Georgia, so I stayed with my son. So I felt bad because I didn't have my young one with me, and she was probably happy because she got to be at home by herself, right, for a couple days, because then I'm not micromanaging her, which I needed. That's a whole nother show. So then I got to go to work with Mariah and watch her do her thing. And it took me a minute because she was doing a show where people were like coming at her. And I'm like, I'm going to pray. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to pray. Mm-hmm. But I could already tell who was going to get her and who wasn't. Mm-hmm. So we did that. It was great. It was with her manager. Left there. Went to my son's office. Met his coworkers. And I'm standing there talking to one of his coworkers. And he said, you've raised good kids. Mm-hmm. And I looked at him and I said, and you will too. And you will too.
But that's like, your job though. That's your career. Like we can't discount raising children. Like that's, when you talked about you're educated, you have your degrees. There's that, and that's amazing. You also have raised children. That has been your career. Like that there's nothing to be like envious of,
No, but I say all that to say this to any single mom, even a mom that's married and her husband is traveling all the time. And that's the way the world is now, right? Mm-hmm. So you might live in Atlanta, but you might have to work in Denver, or you might have to be in London, or you might have to be wherever. Yeah. You're not a single mom, but you kind of are. Because he's gone. Yeah. So the weight of the world falls on you when he's gone. Or mothers and their single dads. There's dads that have to raise their kids by themselves, right? So the mom may be making more money than the dad, and the dad might have to be home with the kid. For all of them, what I'd say the most is wait until you see the fruit of your labor. When you begin to see that fruit bear on that tree, and you begin to see what you have sacrificed and given up for, it's almost like when a kid is going to the draft. Right. And you've been at football games with this little kid forever. Right. And it's like, oh, my baby's going. And when that kid signs them papers for the NFL draft, you like, whew.
Right.
Whew,
your mind goes back to all those days.
You like, thank you, Jesus. I don't know whether to shout, scream. I don't know what to do right now. Right. But that's how I feel when I'm around my kids, or I'm going to G's volleyball game, or I'm doing all these little things, and I'm like, wow. Yeah. Right? I can remember being mad as hell driving to GAC every day.
I remember,
I'm like, what? Every one of my kids, I would drive right past 5 schools to get to this one school. Yeah. Right? And people would say, what? And I'm like, same thing with my son. I remember one time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
When D first went to high school, we paid for him to take the bus. And so that I'd have to get up so early because I had Mariah. So we paid for him to take the bus. But when I realized the bus was going to be there at 5:45, I was like, boo, get in the car. I'm not doing this. That's a waste.
Right.
Me and Mariah, I wrapped Mariah up, stick her in that car seat, and I'm like, no, rolling. Baby, I'm taking you to school. Yeah, because if I didn't take him to school, I wouldn't have got to see him because then he had football practice, tutoring, all the other things. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna have to wrap Mariah up and take you.
Yeah.
Until I finally met a senior or junior, Brady. I paid him a couple $100 and was like, can you take me to school in the morning for me? And I would get them breakfast, whatever they needed. And I was like, but you find a way to make things work.
Yeah. I think all those experiences also create a level of cohesiveness in your family, right? So, even though it's like we're lugging the kids around in a car seat and a double, like we had a double stroller. I had Kendall in one and Kaylin, have the double stroller. It's like it does create a level of cohesiveness.
Have you? This is so funny. And I don't want to get off the subject, but my niece is having a baby. Have you seen a stroller? It's like that thing got everything. It's like a bassinet, a computer counter, like a air tag on it. I'm like, good Lord. No. We didn't have none of that.
No.
I was carrying that thing, hurting. I was hurting. The other day I saw a backpack that opened up into a bassinet. I was like, hold on, TikTok. What is happening right now?
You love TikTok.
I ain't have none of that. I ain't have none of that when I raised my kids. I was like, I can remember when you say coming to America, we were taking the kids to, their uncle was getting married and we were going on their honeymoon with them. I don't even know why they wanted that, but it was cool. I was all for it. And we were getting ready to go to Vegas. Girl, if I had the things they had today, I would have been set. I had so much luggage. When we got to that airport, their dad said, Lord have mercy. We look like coming to America. I had so many bags.
Well, because you got to pack for all the people.
I had a bed for Mariah. I was like, I don't want my daughter on those sheets. I had her sheets. I was like, I don't want nobody touching her. I had a net to go over the bassinet. I was like, we got to the plane and he was like, where are we going? And I'm like, oh, it's all the baby stuff.
We're prepared.
Yes. We had our beach stuff. We had our pool stuff. We had our sunscreen. Now they got it all in a microwave. It's like, you pull it out, the stroller rolls into a bassinet. The bassinet got a TV screen. I mean, I was like, oh my God. Like, this is incredible. Like, when I had a baby, please, I was warming up water, sticking the bottle in it. Like,
but the things that we had, like I had a bottle warmer, but I never used it.
Girl.
And then I had the little thing, the Bjorn thing, like you put
them.
Oh,
yeah.
They hated it. My kids hated it. They didn't like it at all. So I didn't even use that. I'd just be like, on a hip. Let's go.
On a hip, here we go.
Their dad would carry him like a football.
I've got pictures of Mariah where I was like, this baby bathtub ain't working for me. I put her tail in the sink. I put her in the sink, held her up, hold her. I was washing her, taking care of her, lifted her up. Grandma showed me how to wrap her up in a thing. I was like, I had to do what I had to do.
And swaddling was the thing too.
Yes.
But my girls didn't like being swaddled either.
Yes.
They didn't like any of that.
No, my kids, it's just, it's amazing. I have another friend, her daughter, Mallory, was the same age as Dee. And then her other daughter, Gabrielle, is one of Mariah's still best friends to this day. And she and I would just she babysat my son while I went to get my master's. She was in the carpet business and she was like, come on, I know we live in apartments and it's just us, but we got this. We would do gardening on our balcony.
Yeah. We
made sure our kids had everything. Poor Dee and Mallory had macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets every night. Because we were like, you want to go to Boston Market? You want to go to Boston Market?
Oh my gosh.
But we felt like we were giving them a whole cooked meal, right?
Yeah, because it was Boston Market.
She would get off work. I would get off work. We would grab the kids, get on the treadmill, and then we would take our kids to Boston Market and have dinner. And then we'd have some spinach on the side.
Too cute.
Every single time. She was divorced. I was single. And we're still the best of friends to this year, to this day. Because when she couldn't be there, I was. When I couldn't be there, she was.
Yeah.
And to this day, my kids are like, oh, Miss Mary's like another mama.
So you see why it's necessary to have that level of support around you.
Yes.
You know? And I had to learn that because I was like, I'm just going to do this all on my own.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I'm like, you can go, you can, and you can go.
Oh, I know.
Like, I'll just do it all by myself.
I know.
I don't need none of you.
I know. I remember the day you told me you were getting divorced. first it took me a second because I'm like, wait a minute, how he all in the copper chop table conversation acting up?
I don't even remember when I told you.
Wait a minute, I was like, he acting up. Before he wasn't acting up. He was all on our team. Like, oh yeah, you shouldn't do this.
That mask, girl.
Girl, that mask came off. And I remember
he has good qualities. I don't make it sound like he's horrible, but yeah.
Oh no, I love him. He trained my daughter. He was great, right? He trained my daughter. He was he still is a part of our family because he's your dad's kid.
Well, you can say that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Look. Can we pause that? No, I'm joking.
You can say that.
Anyway, but I will say, because he's their dad, I will always be respectful to him.
And I love that about you.
I will always look at him as family because he's their dad. Now, as your girl, I might side-eye him a little bit, right? I might be like, you know what I'm saying? But for them,
yeah, it's necessary.
I'm opening the door.
Yeah. I can't remember when I told you I was getting divorced.
When you told me you were getting divorced, and I was thinking first, like, girl, you do realize I'm a single mother. Hello. You do realize I do everything. Hello.
Yeah.
You do realize that pizza night at my house is going to be completely different. Right? Like it was just little things. But when you told me you were getting a divorce, you was like, I got this.
It was the same to me.
Yeah, you said I got this.
Being married and getting divorced was this. It felt the same to me.
Yeah, you said I got this, and I'm like, what? You go, I don't want nothing. That's when I was like, wait a minute.
You were.
I was like, wait a minute, you want something? You were like, I don't want nothing. I want him. If he wants to go, I want him to go. And I thought, well, I'm strong, but dang,
I know.
Wow. And you said it, and you meant it.
Yeah.
And you meant it.
Yeah.
And you didn't go back on it.
I'm not going to fight for something just for the sake of the fight. You know, like, I remember you saying, well, you need to make sure like you have this on a monthly and you have this. And I was like, I just want to be done with it. Like, I'm not going to step up to this fight just for the sake of a fight. Because it wasn't going to turn out in a way that worked.
And the good thing about you, doing that,
to drink to that
and becoming, look, we should cheers to that. Like, we shouldn't drink to that. We should cheers to that. That deserves like,
you have to sip. You can't cheers and not sip.
Oh gosh, you keep teaching me that. Okay, hold on. The good thing about you, when you became a single mom, you took your bonus daughter with you. You became a single mom, you got divorced, but you took your bonus daughter with you. You never treated her like she wasn't your child. Yeah. And that is extremely noble. You didn't separate the girls. You kept them the same. You loved her the same. And even out of that, you became friends with her mom.
Well, it's really interesting because, hindsight being 2020, of course, is, from my perspective, I think that wedge was intentional between me and her mom. And I think her mom actually wanted to have a relationship, kind of, you talk about we're always going to be family. Like, when I think about her, she's very open to family in that way. And I think that wedge was intentional. And I think had there been real honest, open conversation, then our relationship would have been totally different.
Correct.
Than it was the entire time that, she was with us.
Correct.
And it's unfortunate because I think we could have had a much better relationship, me and her mom. And now, it's iffy between my bonus daughter and me right now, just because of her relationship with her father, which is fine. Like, that's her father. But I do wish there had been, I think honesty is always the best approach. I tell my girls, it's like, it's hard to tell the truth sometimes because there are going to be consequences. There can be consequences
Absolutely.
To the truth.
Absolutely.
But you got to honor people enough to give them the opportunity to make a decision based on facts.
Correct.
And I think I don't know if it would have been different or not, but if I would have had the opportunity to make a decision based on facts, I don't know where we would be right now, or we may be right where we are. But I just think it's so important. Same with raising kids, like, to be honest with your children. And even if it's to say, you know what, and I said this to the girls because they're like, well, why are you and dad getting a divorce? Like, why? Because dad said it's you. You're the one, you. So I was blamed for the divorce, which, fine, I'll take it. And I told them, when you're old enough, we'll have a conversation about why your father and I got divorced. But I'm not going to tell you that information now. So I'm not going to lie to them and say anything to just to give them an answer. I'm going to tell them the truth is like, when the time is right, I'll tell you why your father and I got divorced. Because it's not just one thing, you know, but then they can make a decision about how they want their relationship to be with their father based on whatever.
And so how do they feel about you as a single mom? Do they ever want you two to get back together? Or are they okay with the things the way they are? Mom's there, grandma's downstairs living.
They just really started talking more about the divorce recently. And I've been divorced 6 years now. So they just started, like, I went to Costco the other day with Kendall, and she doesn't really ever go many places because Kay was traveling. And so anyway, she was like, I haven't always wanted to come because it reminds me of when you and Dad were married.
Wow.
And we would go to Costco and like do our pizza night or whatever. And so just kind of opening up. So I think they're beginning to like accept it, understand it. You know, it is what it is. I'm an is what it is type of person. So I try to intentionally be like, you know, tell me how you're feeling about it, but it is what it is. Like, I want to understand how you're feeling so we can work through the trauma and you're not feeling like it's your fault or any of that stuff. But the reality is this is where we are. And so how do we
navigate
in this space and flourish, not just be in survival mode? Because I lived in survival mode for so long, you know.
But you did an amazing job in that survival
mode.
I
appreciate that. I just was, I don't know. I did what I did what I could do. That's it.
Yeah. You turned down a lot of invitations when you're a single mom.
Oh my gosh.
You turned down a lot of
lots of stuff because you got to get up the next day, and that's real. Like getting up the next day and being present for your children, that is real. So I have single friends who can stay up and watch the game or go to the concert or whatever. But
nobody's getting up and getting on the pickup line. Nobody's getting up and taking their kids to school but you.
That's a reality.
Nobody's
the next day, and I tell them,
like,
y'all, you guys get to sleep in tomorrow or whatever. Yeah. That is not an option for me. And I know, I realize that I don't show up my best for my girls if I've been out the night before. I just, I realize that real quick. Like, I don't show up the best I can.
I think, you know, when my kids were younger, or when Mariah was younger, this is like before I had Gracie. This didn't really hit me until after I had Gracie. Before I had Gracie, I did have Maria and Priscilla. They would come with me because I would have to travel with Dee or travel. You know, there were so many tournaments like that I didn't get to go on with Dee, and I learned that lesson when it came to Mariah because Gracie was so young. So Dee like went to Hawaii by herself, and I had to trust Greg. Right? Coach Greg, to take care of my son.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah, he's probably scared of you.
In times, you stupid. Because I busted in on the locker room.
That's a great story. I love that story.
I busted in on the locker room.
You got to tell that story again.
I will tell that story. That's a whole nother show, but I will tell that story. But that's, again, being a single mother. So I'm a single mother, and I know that every kid ain't going to the league. I know that all my kids, you know, I mean, my hope was a scholarship. My prayer was a scholarship. If I could get them a scholarship, it's just like going to the league to me, because they get to, you know, grow. But I remember there were tournaments and times that I didn't get to be with Dee. There were times he played in college. I didn't get to go to his games. And then when I did go to his games, they were the ones I could drive to, where I could take Mariah and I could take Gracie with me. I can remember things that I was like, dang, I really missed that with Dee. So when it came to Mariah, I was like, oh no, baby, if you ain't gonna be here to help me, you give me some help in here, because I don't want to miss all that from Mariah that I miss with Dee.
Yeah.
And so I live with guilt of that sometimes, because it's like, dang, you know, I got to do all this with them, but I didn't get to do all that with him.
Yeah.
And I just did what I could do. Right. And I could have conversations with him and say to him, you know, I did what I could. Like, he told me one time, and this crushed me, that I missed his senior night. I will remember the day he told me that. I was sick because I had Mariah. I think I had Gracie. I was trying to wait on their dad to get in from the airport. I was trying to be everything to everybody.
Right.
And I missed the most important mark. And I didn't get to walk him out there. And if I could do that again, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was sick.
I know.
And he probably is like, when he sees this, he's going to be like, Mom. And I was just like,
he knows how hard
he knows.
I
was trying to do and be everything for everybody.
He knows that.
And I missed the most important body that day. And when you're a single mother, I'm just like, slow down and let it marinate. Like, you got to let life marinate. It's like making a good steak. Sometimes you just got to let it marinate, because if you don't, you'll miss so many of the things.
You have to take a minute. You have to take a minute to have discernment.
Absolutely.
That's definitely something that I've learned. I'm like, you got to just take a minute, because you feel like you need to be 15,000 different places at once. And you just need to take a breath, like pump the brakes for a minute, take a pause, and listen.